Going to come alive here, so the red flag's in off the circuit. Full credit to Jim Tuckerman in the Honda Medical car there. He's done a wonderful job today, so well done to Jim. And we have the lights on, ready to race here as well. And Nathaniel Diprose definitely got the clutch away, but just missed a little gear there. So it looks like it might be Dave Fellows on the TR20 R3 Yamaha. He's going to go into turn number one, but Jacob Stroud's going to go around the outside of him. I think Nathaniel's up the inside. Excellent turn one. Awesome racing here, but it will be Nathaniel Diprose by the looks of it up the inside into the S's. Dave Fellows in second, Jacob Stroud in third, and then Blake Ross. Another great start from Blake there. He's in fourth place. Harry Parker looks like he got away all right. He's in fifth at the moment. So with 9 points separating Harry and also Nathaniel, this is all on for the title, second place in the title. So I think it is actually Reece Lindsay in fifth place. Nick Burke, the Carl Cox Motorsport man, he's up there. And there's Harry Parker there. So seventh for Harry. That's not going to be enough points. He needs to be within 9 points of Nathaniel Diprose to have any chance of second in the title. And absolutely all to play for here at the moment. So Dave Fellows is in there, second place with Nathaniel Diprose. He's out in front, and hopefully he can get through the entire lap this time around. Unfortunately, just lost the front wheel into turn number 14 last time around. So all on here, they head down for a 10-lap race. The first time they're heading down into the left-hand hairpin. Nathaniel Diprose on the Gavin Veltmeyer 390 in charge of this one at the moment.
Yeah, great to see as we get underway, of course, with our 300/250s. Remembering out there, Leon Jacobs, Angus Boyd and Phil Rowe. Well, it's certainly been Leon and Angus. Leon had already won the title prior to this. It's made no difference, this result, but Angus has come out. 16 years of age, folks. 16 years of age, this young man. What an outstanding North Island campaign he's had. Well, full stop, back in his own island. At 16 years of age, I'd be trembling if I was even leaving home, let alone going to racetracks all around New Zealand. So great to see what he's been able to do here. So a real mature rider, and one with, I believe, a huge potential, and great to see that this is his farewell from the 250 class. He's set to move up to those boys on the 300s, and that's the perfect stepping stone for a 16-year-old to do, and I hope he can stick with it for a couple of years, and I'm sure that with his attitude for the sport, we're going to see some better things. So look out for that name, Angus Boyd. Back in second place in the 250, but given a big bike, I'm sure he'll be knocking bars with the big boys up the front of 300s in time to come. So nice to see. Nathaniel, Dave and Jacob, they're your heroes, along with Blake, Reece, Nick and Harry, as Brad has said, slipping back to seventh place. So look out for the MTF Finance Top Trades Property man on that Timaru Yamaha R3. He's under pressure to be losing that placing because Nathaniel made the mistake last time, but I did talk to Nathaniel. He's pretty sure that it was the oil that was left from the Tarvin Walker crash earlier today, because he said the freak of it was that he was in a bike and body position that was not likely to be caused by anything else. So and we remember we had the second one go down as well, so it wasn't to be. And the other big news of this one is that Gav Veltmeyer has officially retired as well, Brad. Gav told us that in the lunch break, so he's officially retired. So to Gav, lending a hand for Nathaniel, it's certainly given him some heart to know that he's still in the race. And Gav, for all of your contribution, I've certainly loved it. I know a lot of people have, and congratulations for everything you've achieved. You thoroughly deserve it, and we look forward to seeing more of you on the side of the track and other great events to come. So well done, and congrats for that decision. Nathaniel, Dave, Jacob, Blake and Reece, they're your hot five out there, igniting some great Supersport 300 racing, Brad. Yeah, absolutely, and we will go lap record hunting here as well. So last time around, Nathaniel didn't quite complete the whole thing, and everyone else is within a tenth of a second off it. So 1:42.2, that's just on a second off his lap record pace from yesterday. So we'll keep an eye on that as the tailways come up to the temperature. The update at the moment, Nathaniel Diprose into the S's with Dave Fellows in there with the second place. Then we'll go back to Jacob Stroud, our 300 Supersport champion. Blake Ross there in fourth with Reece Lindsay. A better star performance from Reece Lindsay this time around. We haven't seen Reece up in the top five so far. He's in sixth place there. Harry Parker, they need to get those MTF Finance Timaru Yamaha pit boards out there. He needs to be much better than seventh place if he wants to hold on to second in the title. So here we go, all on here for young and old, and Supersport 300 hasn't let us down so far this year with some great racing all over the series. Right, brilliant to watch, and good to see if we can find just who's going to get the best place in the right position out there. What about Kevy Goddard in there? A ninth for Kevy. Well done to the Race Supplies man. A guy that got into racing a number of years ago. You can't take the passion away from him. Of course, a former board member of Motorcycling New Zealand. Love him for his contribution as a volunteer. But Race Supplies, exactly as the name suggests, he realised a few years ago there wasn't anybody bringing in those little extra bits that required for racing, of course, and he fills his trailer with those little extra bits and carts them to all of the events around the place. And you'll see many of our pilots have got a Race Supplies a sticker on their bike because they know that they've got Kevy in behind them. He brings in some world-class apparel and other great accessories as well. So, man, he's got another job as well. So he's got a job, he's got a family, he comes racing, and he runs a hobby of Race Supplies as well. So the multi-talented and super versatile and all-round nice guy, Kev Goddard, and still picking up a ninth in there. And he's had his 21st birthday a couple of years ago as well, folks. So not the youngest man on the paddock as well. So love you, Kevy, and keep on racing. So there you are out there. But Brad, that Nathaniel Diprose performance, 141. How we looking? In there as well at our times in the 300s. At a 142, and Nathaniel broke it yesterday, 141.2, so about 0.7 of a second away from it. And I think now with the cloud coming over and that sun and the heat of the day, maybe not lap records left today.
Yeah, maybe not, and a decent enough advantage ahead. He dropped the front in the race before, so he probably knows that a winning margin, it doesn't matter if you win by 500, it still counts for the same amount of points, so he might just be a wise head around here. He's got the fight for the second in the championship well and truly alive. He doesn't want to throw any points away, so Nathaniel Diprose will keep an eye on it. But these 300s, they have to have the same set of tyres from the start of the weekend right through the end of it, so it's obviously going to come into a play as well. But there we go. So Nathaniel Diprose leading well and truly. He's down the first of the back straights and heading in towards the left-hander. Dave Fellow still ahead of Jacob Stroud and Blake Ross. But Reese Lindsay, a good ride from Reese there, 5th place. So keep an eye on Reese Lindsay, who's had a good series up to date. I was looking at his points. He's sitting at 6th overall in the points, just 3 points behind Blake Ross at the moment. So still all on there for Reese Lindsay in this title hunt.
Well, there you've got names that we're not even hearing before, names that we thought were insignificant before. What about Dave Fellows? We didn't even know anything about this guy. This is his first Nationals campaign. He only started on a race bike a little over 12 months ago, and here he is in his first campaign, and he's been banging bars and getting first place in this class, a prestigious class of that, and one of those that is a building class. And yet here he is having his 40th birthday on Friday just 2 days ago, and yet here he is racing amongst guys that are actually the age of potentially children that he could have had himself. So what a great story. Courtesy of TR20, that's Telford Racing. He rides the R3 out there. It's a very nicely balanced and positioned and presented bike. He's doing oh so well on it. 77 is his number. Unsure as to where the number comes from, but anyway, it's Dave Fellows out there. He's really, as we could say, kicking a bit out there because, man, oh man, for a guy to have had a late charge in the sport, he's just come out of nowhere. At 40 years of age, most other 40-year-olds have probably lost their spark and couldn't actually ignite a race package such as he's been able to do. But I tell you what, it's obviously given him some revitalised youth and, like me, follically challenged, and finding that he can still do things at over 40, I think is awesome.
Stuff from Dave Fellows, one of our riders. He's off the grass, so he's using every bit of the track. As we just talked him up, he's run wide out of turn 7 and used all the grass to he's back on track. So a good recovery. So just as we talked him up, he's slipped off the track, but didn't lose too much actually. He's just slipped in there behind Blake Ross, so that'll be our 4th place result there at the moment for him. So still 5.5 laps to go as Nathaniel Diprose heads out of the hairpin and starts the climb down the back straight with now Jacob Stroud and Blake Ross up into 2nd and 3rd. Dave Fellows slipped back to 4th with Reese Lindsay still there in 5th. Nick Burke, you can see the awesome bright yellow Carl Cox R3 Yamaha, he's still in 6th place, and Harry Parker, the update there, still in 7th as well. So all on here, and still going to be 5 laps to go as they cross the line. So Nathaniel Diprose well and truly in control of this one at the moment.
All right, some great racing that we're watching at the moment. Post-daylight saving coming up to quarter to 4. And, of course, we're going to be fighting daylight a little bit now. And that update of our program, which has seen our Supersport 150 scratch from the program. So we've just got Jix's Pro Twins and 125s. And, well, maybe some of those races will have to be short because I'm sure we're going to be stretching daylight as we get into the finale of our race day here today. Fantastic with our Supersport 300 and 250. Watching out for those 250s back in there as well. So we've got Angus and Phil running that 2nd and 3rd place because it is indeed, or in fact, yeah, it is Leon. Leon's holding on to that number 1. So well done there on the Kawasaki Ninja. So 250s, no change from our earlier call, but all on for the top 3, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant to watch. see Nathaniel Diprose. Then we go back to Jacob Stroud, Blake Ross, Dave Fellows. They're into turn 7 at the moment. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Reece Lindsay, Nick Burke having a good little battle there. That's 5th and 6th place, with Harry Parker still trying to keep touch in 7th. Finishes like this, Nathaniel Diprose will be well and truly more than 9 points over Harry Parker, and will take over 2nd in the championship. So Harry's in definite desperation mode. There's still 4.5 laps left in this one, and Nathaniel Diprose, he knows what he had to do, go out and get the maximum amount of points, and he has a massive advantage over 4.9 seconds as he heads down the back straight. So all on here, Nathaniel Diprose ahead of Jacob Stroud, and Blake Ross there in 3rd.
Right, and keen to look out for our 250s with Leon and Angus in there, so that's more than the 25 points at 33, so that was fine. And then we go back a massive points, 82 to Angela and 28 in front of Phil. So 1st, 2nd and 3rd are all concrete in there. Well done to Angela, super consistent and deserves to be NZ number 3. Of course, super wife of our motorcycle hero and Dennis Charlotte, who's had another outstanding contribution to our sport with 2 fabulous classes. Hasn't won a title this year, which is almost unusual from a Dennis Charlotte standard, but hey, to have Angela taking a 3rd place will certainly give a lot of special memories for Team Mega Motorcycle Centre and the fabulous family that we have as the Charlotte's doing an amazing job of our sport. And shout out to Huntler, he's been up here giving us a bit of support over the weekend. He's my scooter hero. He wins all the pit scooter races, doesn't he? He loves being there on a scooter, and he's having a great time with his friends, of course, Emma and Ursula out there, who are other kids of riders who come to our road events and must find it a real pain almost that they've got to see mum and dad at the peak of their performance and going for racing. But the good news is they're still having some fun and some great kids that we love in the pits. And after all, I remember that from Team Rees all those years ago, so let's hope it's going to be the same for these boys to repeat it in years to come, and girls for that matter. Ursula, of course, and Emma out there as well. So bring it home with Team Charlotte, 3rd place in the 250s. But Brad, it looks as if it's all on for Nathaniel, and Blake showing some real class now.
Yeah, Blake Ross up into 2nd place ahead of Dave Fellows, and Jacob Stroud dropped back into 4th place. So that's going to be a great little battle. Down the back straight at the moment, Nathaniel Diprose well and truly in control of this one. So he's going to have 3 laps to go when he crosses the line. But that battle for 2nd, that is coming alive well and truly. So it is Blake Ross ahead of Dave Fellows and Jacob Stroud. A 3-way fight, there's nothing in it. And then go back to Nick Burke, who's up ahead of Reece Lindsay, and Harry Parker trying to reel in those boys as well. So she's all on here, and Nathaniel Diprose crosses the line. He's going to have 3 laps to go, and absolutely dominant display. His best lap time of a 1:41.9. That was in lap 3 of this race. So obviously just settled into a groove. Not too worried about that lap record. As we see Blake Ross definitely sneaking out a tiny little bit of an advantage on that Ninja 300. With Dave and Jake having a good little scrap there for 3rd and 4th. So some brilliant stuff. With the battle for the podium is the one we're going to keep an eye on, all on at the moment.
It is indeed, and the great fights are going for it. Some of those places are in concrete and can't be changed. The 250 in particular, but I tell you what, when it comes to our 300 class, when you've got single digits, 9 points separating riders, you know you're coming down to a tight one. What about the fact that we've got Reece Lindsay and Blake Ross separated by just 3 points? What about between Jack Condon and Nick Burke, just 1 point? There's a points tie between Nick Burke and Hayden Lockhart back there in 8th and 9th place, so super close and exciting. So we've got 4 riders in the top 9 that are separated from another rider next to them by less than 10 points. That is fantastic. So it comes down to the wire, as they say, and another great example of it. And Brad, here we go with 3 laps already, in fact, on the racetrack, 2 and a bit to run.
Yeah, a little bit just down the back straight at the moment. Nathaniel Diprose out of the left-hander. He's in charge of this one. Then we go back to brilliant performance there from Blake Ross. He's doing a good job. He's in 2nd place in that little Ninja 300, so full credit to the BRM Dyno White Line team and behind Blake Ross Racing. So he's in 2nd place. Then we've got Dave Fellows and Jacob Stroud. So Dave's going to pull up alongside Blake, so watch into the flip-flop under brakes. Dave Fellows comes in, he's in quite hot. He's sacrificed a bit of entrance speed, but great riding. Dave Fellows takes the line away, and he's up into 2nd place, and Nathaniel Diprose crosses the line, 2 laps to go, but this battle for 2nd and 3rd is heating up. Dave Fellows now in second, ahead of Blake Ross. Blake has gone up the inside. They're hard under brakes into turn one, and not going to be quite close enough. So Dave Fellows will hold on to second place, with Blake Ross sneaking up alongside him. Jacob Stroud in there as well. Great little battle as they go through the S's. So all on there. Nick Burke's just going to watch all this dicing going on in front of him and try and sneak up and maybe be a factor in the podium battle. There's Harry Parker. He's all over the back of Reece Lindsay, so that's not a matter of time before he makes the change. So with the 25 points, Harry would have to finish in about third place to get that 9 points. So I think a little bit too far to climb for him as Nathaniel Diprose climbs out of turn 7 and well and truly in control of this one.
Well, it's a handy buffer at 6.5 seconds. That's good enough racing in anybody's term. Riding the KTM 390, courtesy of Suzuki New Zealand, Pirelli Tyres, the Auckland Motorcycle Club, getting behind the young protege and Nathaniel Diprose. What an awesome ambassador for a club rider and somebody to get him behind, because certainly as a young scholar, or a scholarship rider, he certainly has done himself very proud. I think Nathaniel, one of our outstanding riders in the sport, and just love his adaptability and versatility. Man, he's been riding 600s, he's riding super sports, he's riding 250s, you name it, you can throw him at him. And what he seems to do every time is turn up with a win. So great to see. And just where he's heading in our racing, well, it doesn't matter. And I recall to this time last year, as Brad recalled as well, that he was being literally lifted from bike to bike to finish the championship that he won in Superlights last year, because he was under some serious pain, but he could still be in the riding position. It was just the walking from bike to bike that was the trouble, and he was being lifted and put on the bike. Once he was on the bike, he was fine. He raced it and thrashed it and gave it the win and the title he deserved. But with not going to the South Island, he hasn't had a chance for the big number one. But I tell you what, Jacob Stroud better look out next year, because Nathaniel Diprose looks to be a hot act here.
Absolutely, and yeah, that Superlight title, not only did he win the title in dominant fashion, but set numerous lap records along, many of them still standing as we round up round 5 of this championship. So a lot of Nathaniel Superlight records still standing there at the moment. So this battle for second, one we're looking out for at the moment. White flag's out, so 1 lap to go, and it is Blake Ross narrowly over Dave Fellows. There's Jacob Stroud in behind them as well. So here we go into turn 7. Awesome little left hand. You got to get the entrance bang on. You sacrifice a lot of extra drive, but Blake Ross done a great job there. Dave Fellows and Jacob Stroud, well, they might have to try and work together, because this Blake Ross performance is absolutely brilliant, and he would dearly love to grab a second place finish to end the season on the high. As we watch Nathaniel Diprose, he's off and gone in the distance. The battle for second is well and truly on here. There's Dave Fellows, gets a great drive out of turn number 9. He's going to be alongside Blake Ross as they go into the left-hand hairpin. So we're all on here. As we watch Nathaniel Diprose, he's around the left-hand hairpin. He's already started to come down the back straight, but it is that battle for second we're keeping our eye on. Absolutely brilliant. It is. Looks like it might be Dave Fellows who's got ahead of Blake Ross. So here we go. Watch them trying to get it along that wall to break the little light breeze that's coming through here. Then we go. Blake Ross is going to pull out of the slipstream. So is Jacob Stroud. So they're going to be too wide. Under brakes for the flip-flop. Dave Fellows is in quite tight and defensive. So here we go. Blake Ross up the inside, so we go into the flip-flop. It's going to be Nathaniel Diprose who's going to win the race, gets the checkered flag. Dave Fellows is leading into turn 14, so it's going to be a full-on drive out of there and a race to the line. It is going to be Jacob Stroud's going to sneak up and grab it, so Jacob Stroud is going to get there ahead of Blake Ross, and Dave Fellows back into 4. So Jacob Stroud, that's some serious, great experience to know when to pounce. Absolutely brilliant performance from him. And there we go, so an awesome podium. Dave Fellows unfortunately missing out. He had the best seat in the house for that run to the line. Nick Birkin is to finish in 5th place, with Harry Parker up there in 6th, Reece Lindsay back in 7th, Hayden Lockhart and Jack Condon there in 10th place. So absolutely brilliant podium stuff, and obviously Jacob had done enough to win the title earlier this morning, and just adding a little bit of icing on the top with a great second place performance. But the man of the moment, Nathaniel Diprose, another race win. So a brilliant performance from him, and without him going to the South Island, it would have been a very interesting title fight, that's for sure. But here we go with Nathaniel Diprose for Coleman's and K Road, Pirelli and Suzuki New Zealand, with the Gavin Veltmeyer machine. He has taken the 3rd and final 300 Supersport race of the weekend. And just to look at the 250 points as well, we've got Leon Jacobs finishing ahead of Angus Boyd, and then we go to Sean White and Phil Lowe in there with Angela Charlotte as well. So Angela wrapping up that 3rd NZ, with Leon taking the win and Angus in 2nd place. So your 250cc production class is Leon Jacobs, Angus Boyd and Angela Charlotte. What a great podium that is, coming from the South Island, and the man from Papamoa with the win there. So Cross down now to Neil, who will have our podium. Nathaniel, Jacob and Blake with the Supersport 300, and also 250 podium with Leon, Angus and Sean White.
Beautiful, the innocence of children, isn't it fantastic? Blake, you win! Yeah, sure does. Courtesy of First Credit Union, Pyro Farm Services, Adams Electrical, BRM Dyno, of course, Brett Roberts Mechanical, and White Line, the home of Kawasaki, up there in the Hauraki capital of Pyro on that awesome Ninja. Well done. We had this time we had two KTMs on board there, the AFC Motorcycles winning bike, and as well up there the GVR Gav Beltmire Coleman Suzuki supported Spectro Oils as well on board. So nice to see. Well, somebody up there thinks you won, and Blake, we won't ruin a good story, but nice way to finish.
Oh yeah, stoked. That's probably one of the funnest races of the season, you know, back and forth, and there were different groups of people behind us throughout the race, and I was just hoping to hold on.
Oh, indeed, you can get better for next year?
Yeah, definitely. I think next year I could be a title contender. I just need to stay more consistent and stay on the bike.
You've got it, well done. Let's hear it, folks. Great effort indeed. Loved this year. First year road racing last year, and Jixer Cup did the right thing going up to the Ninja 250. Jacob, well, you've already claimed the glory, but it never takes the fun away from racing, does it? Still more good racing.
Yeah, no, it's probably the funnest class out there, one of the cheapest ways to go racing, and you know, just never gets more fun and more interesting. A little bit of a disappointing race. We thought if we could make the start, we could drag Nathaniel back into the group. We didn't think we had his pace, but close enough that we could fight with him for the race. But he got away and was sort of a second from there.
Yeah, well done. So nice to see. And Nathaniel, well, we think you've probably got yourself to that second place, but wait for the computer to do a better job than our brain cells. But all in all, just for a North Island campaign, pretty good. What's that? 9 races and 8 wins. How's that?
Yeah, no, very good North Island. Yeah, can't be more happy really with how it's gone. Just a little slip up this morning when hit a bit of a slippery patch in the chicane. But yeah, felt like I had the pace all weekend, felt good at Taupo, felt good on the bike, and yeah, been a great weekend.
All right, next year, what are your plans?
Not sure yet, eh? I mean, yeah, going to do a bit of bucket racing over the winter. Yeah, that's always good, and yeah, have to wait and see for next season.
All right, we'll wait and see with interest as well. There they are, folks. Here's your Supersport 300 podium. Nice way to finish the day with Blake, Jacob, and your winner, Nathaniel.